day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, Ghana. I introduce you to the #1 combined harvesters in the whole universe, the World Combined Harvester. World Combined Harvesters are very efficient and drastically reduce post-harvest losses. It's cost-effective with low operating expenses, easy and comfortable to operate, works well both on wetland as well as dry land. World Combined Harvesters come with automatic gear drive, diesel-powered engines, 1.77 cubic meter grain storage tanks, 2.2 meter cutting width, 360-degree unloading pipe, and a sunshade. World Combined Harvesters are best suited for crops such as rice, corn, wheat, and soya bean. To buy or hire a World Combined Harvester, kindly call the sole distributor, CAM Trading and Farms Limited, on 0546 372014 or 0278 223811. I repeat, 0546 372014 or 0278 223811. World Combined Harvesters, your #1 combined harvester in the whole wide world.
Welcome back. We're coming to you from our studios in Abilinkwe 48 Swanika Street. Live on Facebook at Pan African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan African Television. You can join in the conversation by sending your views, comments, and contributions on our WhatsApp/text line. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, and all of that on our social media page. To make a time and read those up for you. Those of you who are watching us on Facebook, try and share the live post for other people to also get an opportunity to watch today's edition of the program. I'll take you through the topics we are going to be discussing on the program, and afterwards I'll introduce my guest for this morning. The first topic to be discussed is Chad's president killed, son takes over, and that was captured in the Daily Graphic. ECG draws Danso timetable, and this is very, very interesting. From the onset, we are told that this is not Danso. Finally, the timetable is out. Is your area part of the areas mentioned in the timetable? We'll be discussing that in detail. NAPCO trainees suffering, expressed doubt about government's promised exit plan. Another wahala. And also we'll deal with saboteurs. Land Minister says as he leads renewed effort to deal with menace, and that was captured in the Ghanaian Times. I'll be joined in the studio by Dr. Abubakar Mazouk. He's a lecturer with University of Applied Management. Doc, good morning. You're looking good.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Also in the studio. All right, thank you. Also in the studio is my boss, who happens to be the regular host of this program, Mr. Kwame Owusu Danso. Boss, good morning.
Good morning, Justice.
You're also looking very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are also expecting Alhaji Nasiru Mohammed, who is a member of the National Democratic Congress communications team. As and when he joins us, he'll be part of the discussion. But I'll start with you, Doc, on the African story. Chad's president killed, son takes over.
Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. This is very bad, but it's not surprising. It's not surprising because it raises two fundamental evils of similar semantic properties. One, armed terrorism, and two, political terrorism. The armed terrorism is the killing of the president by the Boko Haram activists. And we all know what they stand for. In the first place, if Boko Haram activists want to argue that their action is within the confines of the Quran, then it is unfortunate because this is the month of Ramadan. And it is the time that Muslims and even non-Muslims are expected to showcase the highest sense of humanitarianism and all that stands for positivity. And then if you look at the whole Quran, definitely, I mean, it's stated clearly that you cannot kill a soul unless for a justifiable cause. If you contextualize that one in criminal justice, we realize that yes, killing can sometimes be permissible. If a person is tried, is found guilty, is convicted for a crime that merits killing, he or she can be killed. But we all know that Boko Haram is purely un-Islamic. They do their own things. They have rather hijacked pure Islam, and they are tarnishing the image of Islam by their own campaign of jihadism. That is very unfortunate. And then when you go to the other side, the political terrorism, Kwame, you can even if Boko Haram activists do not kill him, look at this scenario. Chad is either the poorest or one of the poorest countries in the world. The World Bank data makes it clear that Chad GDP stands for $10.51. And if you go to the other sectors, the economy, you'll be amazed. Very poor. You don't even need any data from World Bank to know that Chadians are suffering. Now, the government of Chad hasn't lived to expectation. This is a president who has been in power for 30 years. And that is what I call political terrorism. Because definitely, if he does not use dictatorial means, he can be in power for 30 years. So the longevity, which is justified by a kind of tyranny, can also lead to such a thing, the unfortunate incident. So this we are to draw two main lessons from what is happening. One, to understand that Boko Haram activism is real, and it started in Nigeria. It is now sweeping across the continent, the subcontinent of West Africa. We do not know where it was, not even the subcontinent, because it operates in Cameroon, and Cameroon is not West Africa. It operates in other parts of Africa. So African leaders must come out with realistic solutions to the Boko Haram insurgency. We need to tackle it all. And how to tackle it will be done in multiple forms. One, we need to look at the sponsorship. Two, we need to look at the unemployment confronting the youth of the various African countries where they operate. Three, we need to look at the dictatorship happening or prevalent in those countries. We also need to look at the economic measures, because sometimes you can use economic measures to cure a pure national security problem. So if we consider all these areas, definitely we can find a solution to a larger portion of the Boko Haram insurgency. Then we come to the longevity, the tyranny, sometimes even constitutional tyranny. And we are made to understand that African leaders are glorifying constitutional tyranny. For tyranny, don't be surprised that in all the so-called democratic states on the continent of Africa, we still have semblances of dictatorship. In all, I will not exclude any country. So when you have a kind of dictatorship, and then you create the impression that you alone are qualified to govern the country, no one else, definitely, that it can lead to such an unfortunate incident. Then again, look at the secession. The president has been in power for 30 years, and now his son takes over. What does it mean? In fact, it tells me that Chadians have agreed to accept dynastic rule. It doesn't matter whether that is constitutional or not, whether that can solve their problem or not, whether that is in the best interest of the people is immaterial. What matters is that someone from the family must succeed another person from the same family. That dynastic rule itself is the continuation of the evil and may lead to dangerous activists or dangerous activities in the country. And I think that the Chadians themselves must rise against all these things. They should try as much as possible to stand firmly for the tenets of democracy and for peace and national prosperity. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doc, for your submission. Kwame.
Yes, sir, Justice. Yeah, right. I think Dr. Marzouk has clearly explained to us the economic conditions of Chad, and so I wouldn't want to go there. However, I think it's important to appreciate the political exigencies of Chad, which brought, Deby into office. I'm sure pretty much people understand the history of Chad, but to just add, to our understanding of the Chadian political situation, I think it's important to appreciate the fact that the president who has been killed now created what we call the Patriotic Salvation Movement. And the Patriotic Salvation Movement was born out of a little altercation, not a little, actually, an altercation between himself and the president at the time, Habre. Now, you do know that Deby was once upon a time the darling boy of Habre. Indeed, he became the commander-in-chief of the army, was sent to France to be trained, came back to become the chief military advisor to the presidency. But increasingly, Habre became uncomfortable because he felt that, the military people around the presidency were trying to oust him. So he needed to immediately do something about it. And when Deby got a wind of it, fled to Libya. They are in, Chad is in Central Africa, borders Libya to the north, and then Sudan. So, he was moving between Sudan, Libya, etc., and decided to form, that movement in order to oust Habre. Now, of course, several attempts were foiled. However, they became successful, I think, in 1990, and then he took over power. And since then, it has been tyranny, it has been autocracy, it has been lack of proper democracy, albeit that they create the impression that once elections are organized and a person is emerged from that process as the president, then democracy is thriving. But that is a facade that must not be countenanced at all. I mean, and I'm not surprised that we're here. We're here because of the fact that how you come to power, directly or indirectly, plays an important role of how you exit power. If you came to power through the barrels of the gun, it is 99% surety that you are going to exit through the barrels of the gun. And it has not come to me as a surprise at all. Now, what is most interesting is that the very things that he was preaching against, the very things that he felt were not right, for which reason he organized his movement to oust Habre, are the very things he was perpetrating within this 30-year rule. And for me, this goes to the heart of the conversations that we've been having about our African leaders and how they, after coming into office, they try to cower people to submission, they try to stampede opposition, they try to prevent dissent, voices of dissent in order that they can entrench themselves in power. It goes to the heart of everything that is wrong about the African democracy. And, and I think that perhaps this must be a clarion call on all African leaders who have sought to entrench themselves in power to take a cue from this and to let them know that
your continuing stay in power will one day become, the evil that will lead to your death. Now, what is most troubling, in my estimation, is the fact that after, being killed, his son is taking over. And for me, I don't know whether it is dynasty or I don't know dynasty democracy or politics of convenience. Whichever way you look at it, I think that it's in a negative and must not be encouraged at all.
Yeah.
Now, it brings into sharp focus what is also happening in Togo. We know the history of Togo.
Yeah.
We know that it's also more like a dynasty. A father dies, then a son takes over. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next foreseeable future we are also told that another African president has died and a son has taken over, because that appears to be the way forward for most of these African leaders. I don't know whether they believe that they are the sole repository of knowledge. I don't know whether they believe that they are the ones who have the magic wand to address the myriad of challenges that are faced by their people. But no matter how you look at it, I think that if we have elected ourselves to swim in the ocean of democracy, then we must ensure that we embrace all the elements of democracy that will allow for proper development to be brought to the people. Unfortunately, that cannot be said for most of our African leaders, and that cannot be said for most of the African countries. You can look at what is happening, for instance, in Ivory Coast. You can look at what is happening in Cameroon, Paul Biya taking over power and entrenching himself. You can look at what is happening even in Rwanda, our very own Rwanda. Yes, they say, oh, it's democratic. It is the parliament of Rwanda that has changed the constitution to ensure that the president continues to stay in power. But is that the will of the people? Is that the will of the people? Oftentimes we don't ask these questions. We only create a small screen of some semblance of democracy, but that democracy really doesn't exist. And this, I think, should send shivers down the spine of any other African leader who is seeking to entrench himself. I'm saying that we must ensure that democracy, if it is what we intend to practice, must be properly felt across the continent. And that is the only way we can bring about development for our people. I mean, why do we become leaders? Why do we become leaders? Why do we try to lead people? Do we try to lead people because, one, we are unhappy with the leader who is in power, or two, that we want to address, the material conditions of the people who live in those countries? If that is the reason, then I think that at all material times, it is our responsibility to listen to the people and to act in accordance with the aspirations of the people. If we fail to do that, it means that we have derailed from the normal trajectory of political governance, and that cannot be encouraged at all on this continent. I think the last time we're having a conversation about longevity and development. Now, if we're talking about longevity and development, one would have thought that, the more you stay in power, the more you have, or you are presented with an opportunity to bring development to your people. But it appears that on this part of the world, longevity means entrenchment and it means more brutality. So it is not so much a question about whether people can get development when a leader stays in power for long. It is so much about what the leader intends to do with the power when they are given the latitude to reign. And for me, it has become very axiomatic and very palpable that the real intention of Derby, for instance, was not to address the material conditions of the people, because after him being killed, the son is there. So was it the original intention of him to bring his son into office once he exited? If not, then how come that the son has taken over? In their constitution, is it allowed that a son will take over from the father once the father is no more? Is that what the constitution says? If that's what the constitution says, well, that's okay. But I mean, I'm not sure that the people of Chad will be happy to know that the person who only brought them misery and pain, right, has some way, somehow ensured that his son takes over from him whilst he's no more. I don't think that it augurs well for development. And I'm not surprised at all that we've come to a point where people are obviously not happy with his governance and have killed him. And it's very strange. He was actually leading the military. This crazy guy, you know. But all in all, my admonition is that we take a cue from this. We learn from some of these experiences. We are happy on this side that we are not experiencing some of these terror. Albeit that people will disagree, you know, that we're still experiencing this terror, just that it is in a form of what we describe as democracy, and autocratic democracy, if I can say that.
Or democratic terrorism.
Or democratic terrorism. You know, but it's a big warning to all of us to ensure that we continue to do what the people want, and to ensure that we move away from that which will bring misery and that which will derail the trajectory of growth.
Thank you so much, Kwame. That was succinctly put. You can join in the conversation by sending your WhatsApp and text messages. The number is displayed on the screen, so try as much as possible to send in your messages. We'll make a time and read all those off for you. Also, I've been joined in the studio by Alhaji Nazir Mohammed. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's been a while.
Sure.
Where have you been?
You know, the struggle took us far away. And unfortunately, it ended the way we didn't want it. So we got to repackage ourselves, reorganize. So it is the process of reorganizing that has taken me out of your home. I'm back.
Thank God you're back. Now, Chad's president killed, son takes over. Your take on that?
Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Having said a very big good morning to our cherished viewers. The situation with Chad is not, we can't single out Chad. You know, it started from the fall of Gaddafi, just like what happened around West Africa some time ago when General Mosquito was leading the path of a lot of rebels, and the rebel activity was actually setting West Africa back in the League of Nations. It's happening today within what we call the Horn of Africa, isn't it? The chart includes the Horn of Africa, and you can attest to the fact that poverty with retardation, I mean, everything retrogressive is the order of the day around that region today as a result of some selfish interest. We all agree. Some would, you know, praise the president for having lost his life in line of duty in defense of his own country chart. And then some would also have to raise the issue as to what is the protection that we need to give to the president as a result of the fact that the state's investment in him to see the forward movement of the country is so high. And so he needs some protection, he needs some, you know, he needs to be isolated to ensure that he moves forward with his vision. But whatever be the case, the end result is the fact that Africa is still where it is because selfish interest has taken over the rule of the day. We cannot continue like that everywhere you go. If people in China today are thinking of producing cocoa in their environment to compete with cocoa producing countries, why should we continue to buy arms and ammunitions from these developed countries to continue to destroy the little that we have left that, you know, we could not protect, and we are, you know, investing in destruction of the little that we have. It's very unfortunate. It's uncalled for. We need to rise up as a people. I listened to one lady who made a wonderful analogy as to the forward movement of Africa, to the effect that, look, what we need now is a human resource. When we talk of the human capital, we are talking about, you know, skilled labor that has ended up in diaspora, where as a result of it's an accident though that gave them the skills. They have to look back and see how collectively we can move. The world should not see Africa as a test case. The failure of Africa would certainly affect the forward progress of the world, and for that matter, whatever needs to be done, and with the United Nations level, with other, regional, continental groupings, should all invest in ensuring that, as West Africa did to survive the work of rebels, the Horn of Africa could also work hard to survive the attacks of rebels. This will not move us forward. This is certainly going to retrogress us, and there is no need continuing in that direction.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nazru, for your submission. Now let's come back home. Let's come to Ghana. ECG draws Domso timetable, and this time around I'll start with Kwame on this. Is the area part of the area mentioned?
I've been hearing that ECG has drawn some timetable. I've been hearing. I've not really seen the timetable.
Oh, would you want me to go through the timetable for you?
You may.
Okay.
You may,
all right. So this is the timetable as captured by us, and I think that it is only proper that we take Ghanaians through what ECG is saying, and this is what it says. Electricity Company of Ghana, interruption of power supply for system improvement works. As part of projects to improve power supply reliability and system voltages, the Ghana Grid Company, GridCo, in collaboration with the Electricity Company of Ghana, will undertake interruption in power supply to facilitate work of contractors at various stages and times. In this regard, the Pokwase Bot Supply Point, BSP, which is near completion and sponsored by the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, under the auspices of the Millennium Development Authority, MDA, will require a tie in the GridCo's 330 kV transmission line. The exercise will require a complete shutdown of the 330 kV line, thereby affecting the power supply to the Malam BSP. So it says, in view of this, the Electricity Company of Ghana wishes to inform cherished customers and the general public that the tie in works will take 8 days from Monday 10th to Monday 17th May 2021 and will affect power in some areas of the country, specifically here in Accra, northeast parts of Accra. The affected groups and outage schedule are as follows. 1, that's the group A. In Sakina, Oduman, Odoko Official Town, Awushi, Odogono, Malam Abiase, Top Base, Kokompe, Zamrama Line, Banana Inn, Choko, Kolegono, Gbegbese, Dansoma Control, Shaibu, Kwashibu, Abekala Pass, Niboy Town, Alhaji, Sohutum, Ablekuma New Town, GBC Staff Quarters, and then Old Barrier, Opekuma, Ashalaja, and Lamte Mills. They are part of the Group A. Now let's come to Group B. Lower Makati, Malam, Gbawe, Agape Junction, Bubuashin, Demort, Abose Okain, Santa Maria, Botiano, New Apraku, Mataheko, Dansoman Snit, Glefe, Nyanyano, Kakraba, Iron City, Breku, and Tuba. These are part of the Group B. Group C, Sakaman, Hansonic, Upper Makati Hill, Tetegu, Melcom Plus, Industrial Area, Abeka Market, Latebio Koshi, Tantra Hill, Nyamiche, Pokwasi ACP Estate. A day inside for there. Pokwasi ACP Estate. We will also not be having light. Aman Saman, Anya, NIC, Insumfa, Antieku, Botiano, Wesley Grammar, Aigbe Town, Kokojo, Banana Inn, Mamprobi New Town. They are part of the Group C. And then Group D, Odoko, St. Anthony, German Township, Oblogo. Is it German? Do we have German here in Accra? German, yeah, okay. Township, okay. They talked about Oblogo, Salaga, Salaga Market, CMV Flats, Mamprobi, Soko, Taifa, Ofanko, Asofa, Alhaji, Tabora, Chantain, Israel, Fadama, North Kandeshin, Joma, NIC Top, Seminary, So Tumla Stop, Ablekuma, Russia, Sukra, Kokrobite, Botiano, Osofodazi, and Datus. They are part of the Group D. Now, this is the schedule. The schedule has 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on the 10th May 2021, Group A, you are experiencing light out from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yes. 11th May 2021.
6 p.m. to when?
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That
is in the mornings.
No, we'll come to the evenings too. So Group A would experience light out on the 10th of May, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Whilst Group A is experiencing 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Group B is experiencing 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. Take note. On the 11th of May, 2021, Group C, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group D, you are having 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 12th May 2021, Group B, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group A, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 13th May 2021, Group D, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group A, on the 12th of May, on the 13th of May, Group C, you are having 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 14th May 2021, Group A, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group B, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 15th of May 2021, Group C, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group D, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 16th of May 2021, Group B, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then Group A, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And finally, 17th May 2021, Group C, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Group D, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This is the timetable. Okay. I'm not sure your area is packed.
My area is definitely packed because yesterday, that's why I wanted to know the schedule.
Okay.
And I'll be able to speak to the schedule.
Because
yesterday, even though from what you've read, my area is not part of it, I was told, because I was not at home, but I was told by my wife that they were in darkness from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m.
That's so true. Somebody who lives within that area also true.
Absolutely. So it is not true that this is not true.
Yeah.
The list that the schedule that they brought out is just to deceive the Ghanaian people. And I'm saying it's just to deceive the Ghanaian people because even though you may not be part of the list, you will still experience Zoom. So
exactly.
You will experience Zoom. So they will put your light off. And the explanation given to me is one that I find very interesting. That they are doing what? Routine maintenance checks.
Yes. To improve their systems.
Their systems. So they didn't identify this issue 4 years ago. They didn't identify this issue 3 years ago. They didn't identify these issues in fact, in December 2020. They didn't identify that issue. So we've finished voting. Now, the best way to say thank you to the Ghanaian people is to greet them with doomso in the first quarter of your administration. When everybody knows how difficult it has become to survive in this country. Everything has gone up. Everything. From fuel to goods and services. Everything. Every single thing in this country has gone up. You buy a ball of KK for 2 Ghana cedis, 250 Ghana cedis. If you originally filled your car with 100 Ghana cedis, now you're filling your car with 150 Ghana cedis. If you used to buy a cup of gari for 20 pesos, now you're buying it for 50 pesos. Everything has gone up. So is it the best way to say thank you to Ghanaians for giving you another 4-year mandate? So thank you, first quarter, Dumso. And what even makes me very angry, you know, and I'm controlling myself because I'm smiling. When I'm smiling and I'm talking, it's better. Is to say that our Dumso is professional. Our Dumso is
This is different
embellished. Our Dumso is different from that of Mahama. The hypocrisy in this country, if we don't stop it, it will kill us. Government should come out and clearly tell Ghanaians that, my good people of this country, my fellow Ghanaians, we are sorry, but we owe independent power producers some 1.4 billion in debt. They should come out and say that, yes, we have been able to pay ECG some money, but we still owe them about 500 million Ghana cedis. They should come out and tell us that. They should come and tell us that they cannot pay for the production and the distribution of power in this country. Because why else would we be facing this challenge if you claim that you solved Dumso? You know the argument about who solved Dumso and who didn't solve Dumso. They said, oh, we've solved Dumso, it's a thing of the past. We have no Dumso. We're never going to experience it. In fact, if you read the Ministry of Finance, if you go on the Ministry of Finance website and you read, Ken Oforiatta is telling us that, oh, we had inherited some deficits in terms of the supply of power, and government has also negotiated with some independent power producers for the distribution, the supply and distribution of power, which we didn't really need. And so we are having to pay for some power generation that we do not need in this country. So if that presumption or that assertion is even true, if there's excess capacity of power, then why are we in Dumso?
So to the New Patriotic Party,
my brother,
it wasn't a generational issue, but it was an issue of funding.
Let me make my point, please. It's not, they talked about excess capacity. I'm telling you that this is what the Minister for Finance has indicated. It's not about what was used in the 2016 campaigning period. I'm not talking about that. As for that, we all know what the MPP said. The MPP said that NDC, as a political party, was a bad, manager of the economy. And so I think that one is for everybody. Everybody knows about this. We don't need to reiterate that. We don't need to rehash it. But I have moved on from that. I've grown from that perception. Because it has become quite clear to me that it was not so much about finances. It was also about management. It was also about the process of distribution. It was also about the debt that government of Ghana owed ECG at the time. Let's look at how we have mismanaged the power sector, Justice. So government comes and says, yes, ECG is in dire strait. ECG is in crisis. So we want to try and, address that challenge that ECG is facing. The best way to address this issue is to introduce what they call PDS. That's the solution. This government's solution to our power crisis was to introduce PDS. That is one. Because in admitting that we were faced with challenges within the operations of electricity company of Ghana meant that it was not so much about the issue of capacity, because then there's capacity. It was not so much about the issue of distribution, because then we were distributing. It was so much about how to get our monies back, how to ensure that ECG is able to collect the revenues from the people who were benefiting from the supply of power, right? So they needed to create a platform for collection. And we know what happened to that. That's the MPP solution. As we speak today, Justice, MPP has not added 1 megawatt of power to our generation. And if you're telling me that we have power in excess supply, then it means that we're supposed to have power all the time. Is that not so? Now, you're also telling me that, I remember last year somewhere said, we have managed to pay ECG all the debts that government of Ghana owes it. But it's not true. They still owe ECG about 500 million Ghana cedis. Independent power producers. I'm sure you remember that the Chamber of Independent Power Producers in this country came out to threaten that if government didn't pay them, they were going to withdraw their services. And we know what that would have also meant for the distribution of power in this country. I am saying that, first of all, government must come out clear and clean to tell the good people of Ghana what the real situation is. Because I don't believe that it's as a result of any maintenance that they are undertaking. Now let me come back to the real problem for me, Justice. There's one problem, right? Not telling us the truth. Government not telling us the truth about the real situation. And there's also another issue about Ghanaians being very hypocritical about the situation. Very hypocritical. And I'm tempted to believe that the unjustifiable perception that people are having, I'm using unjustifiable because I have not been able to independently do any analysis to verify what I'm about to say, but it is a perception which, even though is unjustifiable, appears to be a truism, given the current predicament that we are facing and how people have reacted to the current predicament. You recall when President Mahama indicated to the good people of Ghana that he was going to ensure that he ended Dumso. And the things that we had to go through, businesses that had to close down because of lack of power supply, the fact that people were complaining that they were not able to generate enough revenues from their businesses, etc., for which reason some people decided to embark on some vigil night demonstrations and things like that. What has happened? What has changed? Is the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo situation different from that of John Dramani Mahama? And the most ridiculous thing that I read on social media yesterday was to the effect that a certain gentleman went on social media and said, at least this government is communicating to the people of Ghana. So now, the response to this quagmire is that government is at least communicating. Government is Jesus Christ. Government is communicating. So for the simple reason that we have we think that government is indicating to the good people of Ghana that this is our current problem. It means that government is actually solving the problem. So we have to be quiet about it. That is the thinking of some people in this country. And when I was dismayed, when I read, I was in a state of shock, complete state of shock, when I read that particular post on Facebook. The hypocrisy in this country is legendary. And listen, and every time I say this, I think I've said it, it's become like a cliche that if we are not careful, we, the citizens of this nation, will end up killing ourselves. We wake up one morning, we realize that we are all dead. And nobody will be there to do anything for us. Because if it was bad under Mahama, if we criticized it under Mahama, if we chastised the NDC administration for plunging this country into doomsday, if we indicated to John Dramani Mahama and his administration that we were losing money because of doomsday, then why is it that under Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo the situation is different? Is he a better human being than John Dramani Mahama? Is he a better manager than John Dramani Mahama? I believe not. But why are we quiet? Why are we quiet? So-called voices of conscience are quiet. Peer pressure groups, how do you call them? Civil society organizations are quiet. I said peer pressure. I know, right? pressure groups. I want to say pressure groups. well, peer pressure group. I mean, a false expression is the term nicely. Yeah, PPG, peer pressure group, because people were pressured by their peers into thinking that they needed to go on demonstration. So yes, I stand by that. Peer pressure groups in this country. It's a new word. Your uncelebrated celebrities also decided to take a bite from the quagmire, the labyrinth that we were in at the time. And that caused a lot of great deal to the John Dramani Mahama administration. I mean, we're all part of it. Yeah. We're all part of it. But at least I have found my voice. I still have my voice. I am speaking against what is happening. I am not sitting down following the bandwagon and pretending as though nothing is happening. The pretense. People are pretending as if nothing is happening. As if nothing, absolutely nothing is happening in this country. Justice. Look, go to Makola Market right now. Go and ask for a tuber, the price of a tuber of yam. I'm sure Alaji, after the fasting, he will go and buy a bag of rice and try to go and donate. Definitely. You will see your smoothness level. Because if originally you used to buy a bag of rice for 60 Ghana cedis, now you're buying it for 100 Ghana cedis. In fact, a bag of maize originally was, I think, about around 100 Ghana or 90 Ghana or so. Now it's about 150 Ghana cedis thereabout. This is your country. And nobody is talking about it. And everybody is quiet. And everybody is singing the praises of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who has woefully failed. Nana Akufo-Addo has failed. And I know people who are members of the MPP who otherwise would have been very excited to speak to these issues, but they can't because they won't be able to get Nokufio. Otherwise, they will struggle for the next 4 years. So they have to be silent about the issue. But it's deep down in their hearts. Deep down in their hearts, they are not happy about it. And I'm very certain that after this, I'm sure people will begin to say, oh, the guy is NDC, the guy is NDC. Now, every voice of dissent is NDC in this country. We don't have minds of our own. We cannot speak to issues on our own. We are blind to the realities. We are blind to the things that we are being faced with or we are being confronted with. And so when you speak about these issues, it is the NDC that is implanting, that in our brains. For us to speak for them, we have cow dung in our brains. We can't think, we can't reason, and we cannot be able to tell right from wrong. Justice, we are in a big problem. Now we're in a big problem also now, and I don't want to, because I know that
exactly. I'd want to go for a break.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. But let me just make this point before you take,
right.
because I'm sure when I come back I won't be able to continue again. I would have to let my other colleagues speak to the issue. But we are in a situation where, Justice, the Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, and Gridco all came out to give us conflicting dates. I don't know if you recall that. That the minister said, he's unsure about when this is going to end. Gridco says, it's this. So we don't even know who is telling us the truth. All I'm saying is that it is not enough for governments to simply just come and belittle the situation and create the impression as though it is not a problem. It is a problem. And like now, people have now been saying, do so, be doom so. I wouldn't want to go on that tragedy. I think that whether doom so, whether doom, cry, we do not want to experience this. We didn't vote for the Nana Akufo-Addo administration for us to go through this. We are tired already. The country is hard. Have you seen the sun is scorching? You can't even function properly. And on top of that, you're going to be giving us doom. So I think that it should come again. And I think that every single Ghanaian out there who cares deeply about this nation must begin to find their voices. They must begin to find their voices and must not resign themselves to parochial, political and belief system, which obviously has blinded them to the realities that we are facing today, Justice.
Thank you so much, Kwame, for that submission. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be back.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day, he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan African Television. On the issue of Dumso, well, Kwame has fired. Will the fire continue? Let me go to Mr. Naziru. If you had solved Dumso, why are we witnessing or seeing the situation come back under this regime? Because the issue about Dumso was about whether or not the NDC ended Dumso. And you talked about the fact that, yes, by the time you left power, Dumso was a thing of the past. If indeed you had ended the menacing problem, why are we saying it?
Justice. This is a very critical subject. And I'm going to toe the line of my good friend here to also be calm. Unusual of me. Because I have noticed that the more I am calm, the more I can remember a lot of things.
Okay.
To tell the good people of Ghana. First of all, I want to say this situation in which we are is the crescendo of the inefficiency, ineptitude of this government, the government that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is leading. I say so because simply it is 1 + 1 gives us 2. No matter the equation, no matter how you want us to understand, this is it and it's a fact. Now, if someone tells you there is a difference between the John Dramani Mahama administration type of Dumso and the kind of Dumso we're experiencing today, I tend to believe same. There is a difference. One has been an effective manager of Dumso, and the other has been the most incompetent manager of a system that has led us to what has been already managed and improved on. We were in this country quite recently when the NPP government again plunged this country into another debt of a judgment debt of cancelling some of the power generation agreements we have done, and it's providing us some power. You know, you need to understand technically what is going on within the energy sector to come to the realization that this government is on a mission to ensure that they plunge this country back to what brought the Jerry Rawlings revolution. I say so because, listen, when they were cancelling the power agreement to the effect that they even got us into judgment debt, the only reason they gave us is the fact that, listen, you cannot have all this power and not use all of them, then some of us suggested to them, then why not sell to the neighboring countries who are already looking for power? Then you told us that you cannot sell. When you knew at that time, you were telling the good people of Ghana you cannot sell the power, that there is a loan agreement that is going to revamp the energy sector from the Agent Franc de Développement under the John Dramani Mahama administration to change what we normally, and for everybody to understand, the pylons, which can now sustain the capacity that is needed so that we can transfer them and transport them to other countries. The reason initially we couldn't do that is the fact that the pylons, when you release the power in the pylon, because of their nature, because they've taken too much time, you cannot have all the power at the end to the supplier, to the consumer, in any time you engage the pylons. So you need to do something about the pylons. We are now working on the pylons, and it is one of the reasons they are telling us we are going to do so. If you are going to do this so soon, why then do you get this country into another judgment debt? When you knew that by the time you finish this, you can engage all the pylons, you can supply all the electricity to all the countries that will need it within the sub-region. That aside, I want to also come to the fact that, you see, ECG is serving the southern sector electricity, isn't it? Now, the southern sector, most of the regions have prepaid meters. The prepaid meters means that we pay before we use. Now, we've all paid. All that we need is the power. So it comes to me, it amazes me even when people are asking of a timetable, when indeed we should demand for power that we have already paid for. It comes to me as a surprise. Now, having paid and you are unable to give us the power, you went ahead to also commit this country into a colossal loss under the PDS scandal. And I'm telling you, Justice, that the reminiscence of the PDS scandal is what we're experiencing today. The huge amount of money that hitherto was given to Ghana for free, but has been taken away as a result of the incompetence, deliberate greed of this government's family and friend, is what has led us to what we are today. And we cannot deny that fact. Today, if GRIPCO has started giving us warning since last year or last 2 years that ECG is not upcoming with the monies that they are supposed to remit to them, we kept quiet. We thought it was a joke. How can ECG, who is taking prepaid money for the job that needs to be done, not able to pay its suppliers? How? What kind of mismanagement will lead to this? As if that is not enough, what the Millennium Challenge Authority is also going to give to us to ensure that we stabilize the energy sector. And let me tell you, the developed world is not interested in your well-being just as well-being. It is also interested in what it gets from return. Their companies are investing in Ghana. They need regular and stable supply of electricity to ensure that the companies would make returns and bring it back to their country. That is where their interest lies. So if you think that you can come and use their money like you have been using what you have been deriving from your own country, now lie. You won't get it. That is why they would yield the money. Now, having withdrawn the money, and ECG cannot lay its hands on money they are already expecting, what do you think would happen? Just as you are in this country when during the election campaign, each and every NPP person who gets the opportunity to speak to the good people of Ghana reminds the good people of Ghana of Dumso. Indeed, they went further to keep, to tell the good people of Ghana that re-electing John Dramani Mahama would have brought Dumso. Here we are. John Dramani Mahama is not the president. We are in 2021. We are being given timetable for doing so. What shows, if you take, the antics of MPP's Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration from beginning till today, that it wasn't something they were preparing, so that even if they lose, they can get something to hook John Dramani Mahama on. If John Mahama was the president today, and the situation is like this, what do you think would have happened in this country? What do you think would have? They knew what they have done. The hole that has been created, they knew it is going to come. And they knew they were going to lose the election anyway. So they are preparing the minds of Ghanaians then to make the NDC and John Dramani Mahama unpopular. And I keep saying that the MPP should stop even talking about the coming back of John Dramani Mahama, because they have made him popular. It is the MPP who have made John Dramani Mahama popular and accepted by Ghanaians. You have made him hero. John Dramani Mahama went through thick and thin to ensure that he stabilizes the energy sector, having increased electricity supply and coverage to about from 54% to 81%, second only to South Africa on the African continent. What have you done? Today, as I speak to you, we are not even at 80% electricity coverage. A lot of people don't even, some people who hitherto had power under John Dramani Mahama today don't have it again. And that is the kind of situation we have to deal with for the next 4 years. Do you think it is acceptable? No, it's not acceptable. You see, the facts still remain that the good people of Ghana have options.
And what are those options?
We have to stand up for what is rightfully ours. That is it. We have that option. Where are the celebrities who stung John Dramani Mahama with I don't know which snake has the most wicked venom? With cobra venom. We just need for you to tap His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the back with kid gloves and remind him that this is the situation.
Yvonne Nelson, Lydia Forson, Van Vicker. Van Vicker hasn't spoken. I think Yvonne Nelson and the other lady have been speaking of late.
Don't take this charade, these jokes as something that they are doing.
You think
to John Dramani, I'm telling you, it's a joke. To John Dramani Mahama, they carried lantern, walked the streets of Accra. And you tell me that they are sitting and talking about it is what they are doing? They walk the streets of Accra. They printed t-shirts. They design clothes. They design logo. And you tell me that they are talking, and for that matter, they are doing something. Do you accept that?
You have asked that they should tap President Akufo-Addo.
I just want them to tap him at the back by going, he's their friend anyway, go to his table and tell us that here we are with John Dramani and with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo telling him that this is the situation. That is the tapping I expect from them.
Okay.
Not to sit in their corners and print on social media and say that they are also doing something. Is that what they did to John Dramani Mahama? Is that what they did to John Dramani? Don't accept that joke. They should get on the street, do exactly what they did to John Dramani Mahama. Then we can see that they are doing something, they are concerned, they are patriotic and not partisan. You see, I told you I want to speak calmly, but I'm finding it very difficult to continue because this situation, if you don't take time, you will say things that you would even regret later. Because the situation is highly unacceptable,
but ECG and RICO have issued a statement and they are saying that they are, of course, embarking on a maintenance work to improve their systems. Why don't you give them a benefit
2021.
They've given a period. After the period, if the problem still persists, then you have every right
in the 21st century
to be angry.
In the 21st century, where you have Millennium Challenge Authority, even giving money to the sector because of the efficiencies that John Dramani Mahama put in place. And you come and tell me that because you are undertaking routine maintenance. Is that what they told us? Didn't they tell us that it's because they are changing the pylons to be able to carry enough, power and ensure that we prevent losses? And now it is routine maintenance. What kind of routine maintenance requires that you put off power? What kind of routine maintenance will require that the whole country can go off? Justice, have you thought about the businesses that will suffer? Justice, we are in the corona era where businesses are already strained. And this is what you want to add to them? It means a lot of people are going to come home without work. Have you thought about it? The same people that we were reminded of under John Dramani Mahama, the petty barbers, the hairdressing saloon, the people who depend on electricity for survival, they are still in this country. How are they going to survive? Today there is corona. Today businesses are going down. Today everything is not moving forward. How are they going to survive in this condition? They could forgive John Dramani Mahama because it wasn't his making. Everybody understand the fact that it was generation a capacity issue under John Dramani Mahama. And today, it is recklessness that has led us into where we are. I'm done.
Thank you so much for your submission. The fire continues. Now let me come to Dr. Mazouk. Doc, I'm sure your area is part of the list. So you are going to be in Dumso. What's your take on the current, the recent Dumso we're seeing?
It's laughable. Yes. I wanted to say that what is happening...
Sir, just give me 1 second. I just want to show something to our viewers.
Okay.
See, you see, that is what I don't like about the NPP. This is the NPP manifesto for 2020, isn't it?
Exactly.
Isn't
Leadership
it?
of service.
Now, the lies and deceit continues everywhere. You see, this is a table indicating their promises and what they did to achieve that promises. When it came to Dumso, the promise of ending Dumso, you can see it. They just done. There's nothing there to indicate what they did to solve Dumso because there's nothing to show that they did solve Dumso. This is the end.
You can show it to the camera. It has to be zoomed.
Yes. When it comes to Dumso, they said done. Nothing is there to indicate. Lies and deceit do not rule this country. You cannot continue in that direction. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. You can go ahead.
Right. Yes, I do observe that what is happening is a clash between sweet rhetorics and bitter reality. Anytime at all you have sweet rhetorics, definitely it becomes a matter of time. What will follow will be the bitter reality. And that is exactly what we are observing today. The issue is an amalgamation of a number of factors. Among these factors are administrative, financial, managerial, and the super political. These are the factors. If we are able to cure all these problems associated with these factors, definitely we will not have any Dumso. This is not to say that we will not encounter any problem in relation to energy. Of course, energy is the soul of productivity in modern society. No nation in contemporary society can grow, can even survive without energy. And for that reason, as humans, we are expected to encounter challenges in the energy sector because it is a sector that is highly demanded, even on the international scene. So we are not at all saying that the government should not expect any problem. That's not what we are saying. It is also not an issue for productivity to be scaled down for maintenance to ensure that productivity is scaled up. It is not an issue at all. But when that becomes a matter of political rhetorics, then we are pushed into that situation, a very difficult situation, because we have just been bombarded with this timetable. And remember, the timetable has followed a number of denials, if a series of denials, that will not even have the problem at all. If you do remember, that we will not have the problem and that we should not expect any timetable. But I have heard some party communicators argue that we will not encounter such a problem at all. Today we have been given a timetable. It doesn't matter. The title of the book is immaterial. What matters is the content. Whether what we are witnessing is Dumso or anything else, we know very well that the content is the same. It's not different from what we witnessed yesterday. Okay. And therefore, it doesn't matter. We shouldn't, I don't even want us to haggle over the semantic battle in relation to the word Dumso. We call it Dumso or not, it is the same situational difficulties that we have found ourselves in. So we should try as much as possible to look at this scenario and learn from it. First of all, governments should be able to understand the limitations of power and the limitations of their managerial skills. Two, governments should be fair to the people. When there is a problem and then you are fair as a government, definitely you open the gates for others to help you. But if you continue to deny simply because you want to justify sweet political rhetoric, definitely we will have problems like this. And if you look at what is happening, as has been stated earlier, it is going to affect production in this country. And once production is negatively affected, then national development can also be suffer. And that is why we are concerned. I am urging the government to try as much as possible to solve the problem. And if the government cannot solve it at its own level, then I am suggesting that power has become so much important that it affects everybody, it affects every institution, and therefore it should be privatized entirely. Government should not have any hand on it. What government should have should be policy making and supervisory role, so that individuals can be given the opportunity to operate the power, the energy sector, particularly electricity, because nothing can be done without electricity. So all I am saying is that, yes, we have been bombarded, we are witnessing the same problem, whether it is Dumso or not, it is the same lack of electricity that we are going to have. And for that reason, let us all understand that it is a collective responsibility. We'll all come on board. But for anybody to be involved, government must first of all be fair. If there is no fairness, then you will not maximize the opportunity of bringing people on board. So I am saying that politicians should even see it as a collective responsibility and learn from it. Civil society organizations should speak. Religious institutions should speak. Traditional authorities should speak. This is not to say that a section of these people are not speaking. No, that's not what I am saying. Okay. But I'm saying that the energy sector itself is so much important that whenever we have any difficulty in relation to it, it should be a national issue that should attract the attention of everybody. And the discourse should be much more impactful. In fact, the discourse should come from all quarters. If we are able to look at it as a national issue and not a mere political issue or a source of political propaganda, definitely we can solve it. But the government must lead the crusade, and the crusade of fairness and then involvement of everybody.
Thank you so much, Doc. Kwame, you want to,
Yeah, I just wanted to draw our attention to something else, but of course, in respect of this subject matter. Okay. I'm sure you're aware that, there are some taxes that have been heaped on Ghanaians.
Exactly.
And one of that has got to do with electricity tax. Yeah. And you're paying more taxes for the supply of power, but the power is not there. And for me, that's another big issue. I'm also sure that you are aware, if you are not, I'm telling you, that Ghana Water Company Limited has also sent out a communique, which communique is indicating that we're going to be having challenges with the supply of water in our taps. It seems to me that this is a coordinated and calculated, deliberate attempt by government to continue to create an uncomfortable situation for the good people of Ghana. You see, let me say this, just I didn't want to say it, but let me say it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how this MPP government has succeeded in cowing people to submission. First of all, let's create an atmosphere of fear and panic. That is number one. So we will continue to hear that somebody has been assassinated. We'll continue to hear that somebody has been killed. We'll continue to hear that a journalist has been shot. We'll continue to hear that radio stations and stations of opposing views have been shut down. We'll continue to hear that police will brutalize people who are, embarking on harmless demonstrations. We'll continue to hear that individuals have been attacked for criticizing this administration. And so that atmosphere of fear has been created. And it is precisely why it appears now everybody is quiet. Even though they know what is happening, they can't talk about it because they are scared for their lives. They are afraid that if they are not able to speak in a manner that government finds it comfortable, they may be killed. So people are scared. Nobody's talking about it. Two, all these, how do you call them, Christian council, all of these people who claim that they are voices of conscience and they are the sole repository of knowledge in this country, have also been bought. They pay them, they are on payroll of government. So they can't also talk. They can't also talk for another reason, that they were the ones who heralded the problems that the Mahama administration, was facing at the time. They heralded, they were the heralding powers of the chronicling events of John Dramani Mahama's administration, or they chronicled, if you will, the events of John Dramani Mahama. They were they say primus inter pares. They led that. So now they find it defeatist to come back to tell the good people of Ghana that, we were wrong. We were wrong about this man. They don't want to assume the defeatist mentality, so they cannot come out to speak. That is what it is. Otherwise, there's every indication, without more, that this Nana Danko administration is the most disastrous administration Ghana has ever experienced, apart from J.J. Rawlings' regime. This one. When I mention J.J. Rawlings, his face changed, but it's okay.
Oh, no. You have a reason.
Apart from J.J. Rawlings' administration, this Nana Danko Akufo-Addo's administration is the worst in the history of this nation. Haven't you seen the current state of insecurity in this nation? In fact, when in 2017-18 thereabout, we embarked on the Agbewa demonstration because of the increasing state of insecurity in this nation, people said we were NBC. Go to Kaswa right now. People are being killed every single day. People are being robbed every single day. In Takrade, you told me this story.
Yeah.
A 65-year-old man or somebody like that.
With a wife.
With a wife was shot after being robbed. Yesterday, somebody was being shot and robbed in Kaswa. Yesterday. This is the current state of our nation. The current state of our nation, Justice, is that we are going to borrow $5 billion in bonds, and nobody is talking about it. How hypocritical can we be as Ghanaians? Oh, so we are in the animal farm. 2 legs are good, 4 legs are bad. That the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the, you know, we can't talk about him. We can't criticize him. We can't, you know, address the negatives in this administration. We can't do that because what, he's God? It saddens me, and it breaks my heart that the younger people on whose shoulders we are supposed to build a certain foreseeable future for our children and posterity are the ones who are complicit in this issue that I'm raising, that they have been dead silent about this matter because of their extreme partisanship. They can't talk about it. But they forget that if the country is destroyed in the next foreseeable, because these people, they will die and go. Yes, and I said it, somebody was laughing. These people, they have barely 5-6 years to live. They will die, they will go, right? But when they die and they go, what kind of country would they have left for us? What kind of country would your child, you know, grow in? Would the country present opportunities for your child to get something to do? Would the country present an avenue for entrepreneurs to succeed? Will your country allow for equality, for people to be able to access, you know, basic education? Would your country allow for people to get potable water to drink? Would your country allow for people to have better supply of electricity? Would your country allow for people to commute between Accra and Kumasi in a fluid manner? Would your country, in the final analysis, ensure that people are able to get jobs to do? Those are the fundamental questions all young people must begin to ask themselves, and not to simply, you know, wallow in the confusion that their political party is in power, and therefore when they get 100 and 200 and 150 Ghana cedis, they think that is the end of the world. Forgetting that these people are making millions of Ghana cedis, and they are giving you 100 Ghana cedis. And you go on social media, you write all the nonsense you want to write. At the end of the day, you go home hungry, and you are calling people begging. In fact, when we were here, somebody has sent Naziru a message that he's broke, he's hungry, he needs food to eat. I can send you tons of messages. In fact, yesterday somebody just sent me a message that they need to go and pay their school fees. They are in the university, they don't have money to pay theirs. These are the matters that we should be addressing. How come that we don't have proper, in fact, we have proper scholarship schemes for students to be able to access and go to school. Doctor here will tell you which people are benefiting from the scholarship schemes. Which people? Politicians are benefiting. In fact, politicians who are paid with the taxpayers' money are the ones who are benefiting from the pension schemes. Go and check. You will be shocked. And now I'm speaking from experience. Because I know politicians who are benefiting from pension schemes, Honorable Naziru. They are the ones benefiting. You and I, somebody who lives in Achimasafo, somebody who lives in Achimamana, somebody who lives in Elmina, who doesn't know any political, you know, you won't get it. If you don't know any politician, you won't get it. You won't get it. That is the problem. Who are the people who are being enrolled into the police services, into the police service, in the military and all? These are people who are connected to the politicians. So if you don't know anybody, my brother, you will continue to live in that village and nothing good will come your way, except that you know some political leader or actor or player who would hold your hand and go and give it to somebody to help. This is the problem. These are the challenges that we are being faced with day in and day out. However, we have not made it our business as young people to be very expressive about this matter in an angry manner, so that the leaders will not take us for granted, so that the leaders will do things that will inure to the absolute benefit of the good people of Ghana. Otherwise, Master, we are headed for doom. So this power crisis, we must be insistent, not only on our conscience, but we must be insistent that the right thing is done, Dr. Marzuk. That the solutions that this administration intimated unequivocally that they had brought in order to address the doomsday crisis that we're faced with must be felt. It's not just about rhetoric. Don't come and tell us that you have solved the problem and then 2, 3, 5 years down the line we're experiencing this. It is quite clear that this was an issue that was bottled up. It started right when they were not able, in fact, right when they chopped our money. This country has borrowed more than, this government has borrowed more than any government in the history of this nation. They are finished spending the money. They cannot get money to pay independent power producers. They cannot get money to pay ECG. They cannot even get money. And Greco, if you are watching me, Greco, instead of you people to come and speak truth to power and tell the people of Ghana what's happening, you are aiding and abetting. You are in bed with government, telling us that, oh, it is power maintenance. We are maintaining. That's a lie, complete lie. And they must come out and tell us the truth that this is doom. So government is owing us. Government has not been able to pay ECG. Government has not been able to pay independent power producers of the $1.4 billion, not million, no, $billion that they owe independent power producers, for which reason we have been Didn't Mr. Pratt say this last year?
He said it.
Exactly. Was he a prophet when he said that? He had read the situation and had projected
An experience
and had projected that given the way we were managing our electricity, our power services in this country, we were going to be faced with this challenge. And we sat back and nobody supported the argument. I'm sure at the time, if we had all listened to him closely and we were not blinded by extreme partisanship, political partisanship, we would have been able to address this issue. We would not be in this current state. We are all going to be the sufferers of this. Nobody is going to be left out. In fact, where you live, you live at something estate. Where?
Around ACP.
ACP estate. Where you live? Are you the only person who lives there?
Not at all.
I'm sure there are MPP people who live there.
I know some politicians who are there. Who are
precisely.
MPP.
And those people who live there, don't they have businesses?
They do.
Do we discriminate? Do we say this is NDC business? This is MPP business? Do we do that?
Not at all.
We all suffer. We die here. We all die in this country.
We refuse to die. We will survive it. We are fighters. We continue to fight justice. The most important thing that I think my friend left out in this whole discussion, I mean, he's raised to you the issue with water. I am telling you as we speak today, LPG gas. If you live in a house, if you live in a home, you need electricity.
Of course.
You need water. You need LPG for survival. They are critical.
Exactly.
LPG is astronomically high as we speak today, and the price keeps going high. Whilst LPG is going high, I am telling you that the situation we are finding ourselves in today is from a government that has borrowed more than any other, all the governments that we have at this combined.
Put together.
It's borrowed more than all the governments that we've had in this country combined. The government has borrowed more than that. I am beginning to believe that the NPP did not expect Ghanaians to vote for them in 2020. They did not expect Ghanaians because they themselves know the rot, the decay that they've left, and that Ghanaians know about that and they won't come to power again. So they were just doing everything haphazardly. Now it has come back to become an albatross around their necks. And for that matter, they need to suffer it. The only thing I have, you see, if you even compare Jerry Rawlings' administration to Nanado, let me tell you, it is under the Jerry Rawlings administration that at least we realize that there is something we should do called Vision 2020 that suggested that we should at least increase power generation by 200 megawatts yearly per annum, you understand, in order to meet the growing demand for electricity. And it is under Jerry Rawlings that will move from the hydro generation, electricity generation through hydro, to at least thermal, where we have the Wadi thermal plant. I ask this incompetent, inefficient, useless government, what is your input? They say 2%, 2 megawatts of solar. 2 megawatts of solar. What is in their, what do you call it, manifesto?
Okay.
If you are not incompetent and useless, you compare this government with Rawlings? The Rawlings government that people even call the West. This is what they have done with regards to energy generation. What have you done?
Thank you. Thank you.
Just
So he wants to also enjoy. Let him enjoy.
Yeah. You know, there is a link, theoretically and practically, between insecurity and lack of energy.
Okay.
You had
What's the link?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
The
link.
link, yes.
Yeah, the link.
First of all,
Seriously.
insecurity is created largely by unemployment.
Exactly.
Proper management of energy enhances productivity.
Yeah.
Productivity then leads to employment.
Exactly.
Employment will also take us to national development and prosperity. In a situation where energy is not well managed, then it creates largely an atmosphere of unemployment. And because the youth of this country constitute a critical segment of the population, they are active. When there is unemployment, they become the worst victims. And therefore, naturally, and psychologists will attest to what I am saying, they will look for other alternatives. Of course, alternatives that will be dangerous to the health of the nation. So, because they do not have, they have to go into armed robbery and other forms of insecurity.
Okay.
Then again, but this is just by implication. But practically, when the nation is dark, opportunities of insecurities, armed robberies, and other forms become higher.
Exactly.
And when we, in fact, I use energy here as an extended word to cover everything, every basic need, even water.
Yeah.
Yes, this is my operational definition of energy here.
Okay.
Now, if you link lack of water or inadequacy of water, let me put it that way, to be fair, inadequacy of water, inadequacy of electricity, inadequacy of gas, and perhaps inadequacy of housing, definitely you are creating an army of insecurity. And that is highly unfortunate. In fact, the government should look at these areas. It doesn't matter what the opponents will say. First of all, if you do not appreciate the problem, you can never find a solution to it. Secondly, if you do not want people to come on board and help you, then you are creating an opportunity for them to laugh at you when you fail. And lastly, it is up to the government to understand that we are all perpetrators of the crime, or we are all advocates against the crime. And therefore, either we are together to solve the problem for all of us, or we are disunited to continue to laugh and to heckle one another. I believe that together we can solve the problem.
Doctor, we didn't create the problem together. We didn't create the problem together. If you are talking about insecurity, I believe you. Look, I confirm what you are saying just yesterday. You understand? You know the most affected area when it comes to these power outages is Ashanti region today. Now, Ashanti region, 4 young girls, the oldest being 16 years. 4, not a single male among them, went for robbery yesterday or 3 days ago in Ashanti region.
Okay.
4 young girls, the oldest among them is 16 years. 16 years. And they went for robbery. I listened to the police inspector, the police commander for the area, you know, speaking in despair, raising his hand in despair, calling for people to come and help him. This is the situation. They should look at the young girls. I mean, what would, you know, motivate young girls, the oldest being 16 years, to go for on armed robbery? What at all? We are in a serious crisis.
So when I mention, I'm actually not saying that we have created the problem together. I'm saying
Yeah, you either be part of the problem or part of the solution.
Exactly.
But I'm saying in this particular case, the person who created the problem is that you should solve it.
But why not? And you see, it brings me to the next topic that Justice wants to talk about. Hold on.
We are moving into the next topic.
Justice, the next topic. NAPCO trainees suffering.
Exactly.
NAPCO trainees are suffering. The 16-year-old that you are referring to, let's assume that we had jobs in this country. Do you think she should go and rob?
No.
You think she should go and rob? She won't go and rob.
You see,
Do you think that if the brother or the sister, the elder brother or sister, who has completed the university or any tertiary institution for that matter, was gainfully employed and was earning an income, do you think that the sister will go and rob? Because at least there will be something for the young
for sustenance. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not holding brief for anybody who commit any form of crime in this thing. I'm not holding brief for anybody, and I would never hold brief for anybody. I just want to advance my argument, and I'll end, and you can pick it up.
I beg you, let me just
But you emphasize.
one point.
Emphasize.
All I am saying is that you agree with me that government is a collective responsibility.
Certainly.
Wrong politicians, irresponsible politicians will create the problems. But Sheikh Nazir, I think you and I are here to help find a solution.
Exactly
No,
the case.
exactly.
Exactly the case. In my attempt to help find the solution, I was more incompetent.
Justice, let me.
All right. I think that the point is, how can I allow? Can you allow Kwame to make this point?
Yeah. Thank you.
And you see, like I was saying, I was just trying to, because there's nothing in this nation that can be delinked from another. Well, I think everything is interconnected. And the interconnectivity brings to the fore some very important issues perhaps that we have relegated to the back. And we have not been, loudly expressive about it. And I am talking about this NAPCO trainees who are suffering, from out of passion and out of pain, actually. Because when the lies, NPP government comes and says, we have created 1 million jobs. And the 1 million jobs that they claim they had created, involved
NAPCO.
NAPCO was part of it. Together with others.
Youth in
afforestation, NAPCO,
planting for food
and a few others.
They said they've created some jobs within that planting of food
absolutely
and jobs, sector.
Created 1 million jobs. So, I mean, like I'm saying, it's all inclusive of this particular issue.
I think they mentioned over 2
million. When the issue became rife and we were all having conversations around this, people said you are doing propaganda. But we were receiving countless number of messages on this platform where people who at the time, made it clear that they were part of the NAPCO beneficiaries had indicated that they were not being paid. You had people here on this platform saying that they were telling lies and that, these are NDC people, leave them. These people who are Ghanaians, who were beneficiaries of NAPCO, said, we have not been paid for 6 months, for 7 months. We've not been paid. Nobody is saying anything. Government is not saying anything about anything. And, we are still struggling to even get the small allowances that we're supposed to get. They politicize it as usual. They said, you people, you are NDC. Let's leave them. Now we are here. Here we are. I mean, it is now very glaring. There is no iota of contradiction in respect of how far we have come with the implementation of NAPCO. It's been a total disaster from the beginning. And I've always consistently, without fail, opined that the problem we have in this country is about sustainability. We don't have any sustainability plan. People may conceive beautiful ideas, may hatch it, but to sustain that idea has always been a challenge. Always. So I'm not surprised that these wonderful young men are saying that they've not been paid, because government, as usual, does not have, or did not even have, a sustainability plan. All they wanted to do was to implement this for the purposes of achieving some cheap political points. Cheap, very cheap, meager political points from the implementation of NAPCO. Because it indeed found expression in the campaign of the MPP, in the just ended elections. We've created job. NAPCO was part of it, featured prominently in their campaign. And so it was just for the purposes of political expediency and not for the purposes of addressing the menacing development of unemployment that has plagued the young people of this nation. They have not, it was not the intention. It was never in their minds to address the unemployment situation in this country. And that is my pain, and that is my worry. The fact that you are using the unemployment situation of our young people as experiment rats is what hurts me. That we are using them for the purposes of achieving political experience, or scoring some cheap political points. For me, it hurts my soul. And that is why all these issues that we are talking about, the societal breakdown, the moral breakdown, the issue of armed robbery in this country is skyrocketing because people have no jobs, and people, even if they have jobs, they are not able to even get small out of the work that they do. How do you expect these people to survive? Day in and day out, you find graduates selling dog chains on the street of Accra. Day in and day out, because you see, we don't have a plan. Because listen, we know, and Doc is here to correct me if I'm wrong, that annually we churn out over 200,000 students from the various universities, both private and public.
Yes, true.
All right. What has been the plan, the exit plan
to absorb them?
To absorb these people, because they are not from Togo.
Some are coming from abroad.
Yeah, they are not from Togo. These are Ghanaians. They are not from Cote d'Ivoire. They are not from Azerbaijan. They are Ghanaians. And so, if we are making projections, do we factor these people into the projections that we make? What is the plan, the exit plan for these young people who will be brought into the system? How do we ensure that they are able to firmly ground themselves so that they can fend for themselves and they will be able to do something to support the developmental agenda of this nation? How do we do that?
Let me tell you something. You were talking about selling dog chain. I mean, it's very luxurious compared to what I'm going to raise to you. I saw a lady graduate coming from the north as Kayayo. That day, the same head she used to crack the brain to pass exams and graduate is now used for carrying things.
I'm not
it's
surprised
not used
at all.
for thinking, it's now used for carrying
I'm not
things.
surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all.
That was the
But
day
it tells
broke
you,
down.
it tells you that the economy is in shambles. It's in tatters. It's in tattered clothes. You know. But the point I want to emphasize really is that, listen, justice. NAPCO trainees suffering, they are expressing doubt about government's promised exit plan. In fact, government does not have any plan at all. The government doesn't have any plan at all because you live in a country where you don't have a national development plan. So how can government have a plan for you, the young person? You live in a country where there's no national youth development plan.
Exactly.
In fact, government itself does not have a plan. Government itself, no, it's true, it's true. Government itself, not the MPP-led government itself, they don't have a plan. So why would you even imagine that government will plan for the exit of NAPCO trainees? Exit to where? To do what? They want you to just, that's what I said, they are using you as an experiment rat. That's how they call them. The rats that they use for experiments. They're using you as an experiment rat for their own political expediency. Beyond that, there is nothing. You know, so in the final analysis, for me, what I think the young trainees should do is that if they want the world to hear about their predicament, and if they need absolute solution to whatever it is that they are bedeviled with, they need to be very vocal about it. They need to be very vocal about it. They need, even if it becomes needful, they need to hit the streets and they need to demonstrate to government that we know what you are doing, we know that you are not here to serve our interests, and therefore we want the whole world to know that you deceived us. And that thing that they did, remember, once upon, I think in the recent past, I think was it one of these 6 March or something like that, they said that the NAPCO trainees went to march. I don't know. What was that?
I think they were paraded.
It was
Yes, maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
He went to parade them and they were happily marching. Yeah, Nana, oh, Nana. Now they forgot Nana and they go take money. Thank you, Justice.
Thank you so much, Kwame. Briefly on NAPCO.
Not only those within the NAPCO structure, but many are those who hitherto were receiving their salaries promptly. Some on the 15th, some, promptly. And today, they don't get the salaries. The security service that we would all depend on, now that we've all agreed that the security situation has broken down, have also been promised some increment in their salaries. We are told right after the election, those increments have ceased. We have been told a lot of things that is happening within this government that goes to, reinforce my position that even the MPP themselves did not know they are going to win election. So they did everything haphazardly, expecting that we, the citizenry, will be intelligent enough to know that they are incompetent. But it turns out that today they are still in government. Now, of all the problems we are talking about that this government is facing, is the fact that long ago, before today, we were told that this government is handling the economy so haphazardly, such that it is even spending outside give mix. That is the Ghana Integrated Financial Management System. Nobody said anything about it. There is a reason the Mills Mahama administration instituted what we call the give mix to ensure that our monies will be put to right use. Nobody raised issues with it. I am just telling you, watching from what is happening, and if it continues, I can say without any doubt that by June, July, it will be difficult, very difficult, for government workers to receive salary. And I'm not just saying this. We are in this country. We will come back. There will be another round of discussion, and you will remember what I said, because the country is in serious crisis. All that we need to do is to ensure that the little you have, make sure you are managing it very well, to also pray to God, because we are a religious country. We believe in the existence of God, that God would, through miracle, save the situation up until the Messiah will come to save this country.
All right, thank you so much for submission. Doc.
Yes, the NAPCO saga is an illustration of the excessive partisanship instead of patriotism in handling national projects. The idea itself is good, but once it remains under excessive partisan manipulation, definitely we are going to witness what is happening now.
Okay.
You know, I believe that if the government had put it under the civil service, at least to manage, it would have been better. It is a beautiful effort to enhance youth employment. That idea is good. But when it is regarded as a pure partisan project meant to perpetuate partisanship and to enhance the political fortunes of the ruling party, definitely it cannot at all solve the problems associated with unemployment. If you come to NAPCO, in fact, I have witnessed a lot of situations in which people cannot even access their identification. When you go there, and then you need any information, you are told to go online. The website itself is close to dysfunctional. Close to, I'm not saying it's dysfunctional. It's close to dysfunctional. You go there, I'm living with someone who is under NAPCO, and I can tell you what he faces. But this person goes to the website, he is directed to see another person. You call that person, because he is a party man, He doesn't care. He speaks to you the way he wants, because he knows that he's not occupying the position on merit. He's occupying the position as a partisan opportunity. And his loyalty is to the party and not to the state. And that is why he can misbehave. For close to 7 months, the person hasn't been paid. And he continues to go to work. So I believe that if it is insulated from partisan manipulation, partisan control, and put under an independent body, preferably under civil service association. The civil service can still treat it as a special scheme by the government. But once it remains under partisan control, it cannot function very well. First of all, the selection of the people, appointment of the governing authorities. Look, we still have people who belong to NAPCO and other categories of the interventions. And then if you are loyal to the party and you are known, you may not have any problem. We have them. But if you are not at all a party person and you face these challenges, you will not have anybody to talk to. So the idea is good. The implementation is problematic. We believe that the direction of control should change from the partisan field to the patriotic arena. And that is where all of us will enjoy it as a national project, not a partisan tool.
All right, thank you so much. So now time is up. Let me take a few of our messages and then we wrap up on the program. This one says, the forces that unite us are intrinsic and greater than the superimposed influences that keep us apart. Doomsorization is doomso. Greetings to our visionary leader, JDM. Good morning, Pan-African Television. Thank you so much for your message. Who is this? This one says, I love the way KOD expressed himself this morning for the betterment of the country. Mariama in Kofrodia sent in that one. Thank you, Mariama, for your message. If Nanado had not become president, people will say he was the best president we never had. Talk is cheap. He has been abysmal and absolutely bereft of ideas. Posterity has already judged James from Boko. Thank you so much for your message. Hi, this is Habiba from Wa. NAPCO trainers are suffering because when it comes to employment, they bring their own people and tell us different story. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning, Justice. Very good. It's very good you're discussing this NAPCO issue. Anytime you talk of the issue, how the government is treating the personnel on payment and exit plan, you will get your own people attacking and raising insults on you. I just see the initiative that the government have just gathered some youth and place us in some places and leave us to suffer. I am Isaac in Asawase. Isaac, thank you so much for your message. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Justice, this very MPP administration is a misfortune that has befallen Ghanaians. By the way, the judge with the phrase create, loot and share, is he still in town? Dr. Nyaota Maklo is absolutely right. These are rascals and bootlickers that have hijacked the country. Jiejong in Taifa sent in that one. Jiejong in Taifa. Good morning to you and to your panelists. I'm watching you live from Garu district in the Upper East region. More than 20 beneficiaries have been declined. Thank you. This one says it is not NAPCO alone. Trainee teachers have also not been paid for one semester. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, where are those who embarked on Doomsday Vigil? God is watching us all. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, I'm Ismail from OT. Good morning, Justice. We the NAPCO trainees are still waiting for March allowance and last year January allowance. Okay. All right. So this one says, good morning. Please, I am a NAPCO personnel. We need to know our fate after these few months. I'm ZH in Kumasi. Thank you so much for your message. Good, Justice, good morning. With regards to NAPCO issue, government has failed. They've not paid our match allowance up to now. It's serious. Okay. All right. Briefly, I think Kwame would want to make an intervention.
I'm done. I just wanted to greet somebody.
Okay. All right.
Gabriela Tete.
Okay, Gabi.
Of the NDC. I think she's watching.
All right. Okay, Gabi. Good morning.
Our very own Samia Uku and Abu Jinapo.
Oh, very well. Kapo and Abu Jinapo. Good morning. Also to Chairman Ofoswe Jare, the Otu Senior East Constituency Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. Good morning, sir. I greet you. Alhaji Baba Seidu. Alhaji Baba Seidu, Member of Parliament for Nalerigu Gambaga constituency. If you didn't win that constituency, I would have stopped serving God. But I'll continue to serve God because you had won. Thank you. Thank you. Hey! Okay, Chairman Kweku Untumi Taki. Chairman Kweku Untumi Taki. Elmina. We greet you this morning. Greetings, special greetings from Pan-African Television.
I like the line of greetings. The line is very, very nice.
I think it will be unfair. Let me also greet my spiritual boss.
Okay.
His Eminence, the National Chief Imam.
The National Chief Imam.
Good
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Having joined my cloth with Dr. Marzouk.
Okay, Dr. Marzouk. Okay.
I also would take the opportunity to say a very big happy birthday to the National Communication Director of the NDC, Lawyer Kakra Asamoah. Today is his birthday. Okay. I say a very big happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lawyer Kakra Asamoah. Good morning. Good morning to you. Where's the party? We'll join later for us to celebrate this. This is what time will last the program. Let me say a very big thank you to everyone who has been part of today's production, to my colleagues, Ivan Barnes, Makiza Latifa, and Bless for holding the fort until we took over to do the newspaper review segment. Make a time with us same time tomorrow, I'm sure. God willing, tomorrow. Okay, anyway. So make a time with us same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Apia, and the show has been Good Morning Africa. Goodbye.